Hi there, I'm Amiibo Lad. I'm here today to teach about fusing two skeletons from Final Fantasy VII Remake in order to take physics bones from one character and put them on another. Now this is useful in full character replacement mods. It's incredibly useful if you have a character mod idea for, let's say, Tifa, and she needs long skirt bones. She doesn't particularly have a lot of models that have those. Like when you look at her other bone sets, you've got the purple dress and the China dress and the Wutai dress. They've got many useful features physics-wise within those. You've got the um, tabard sort of style flap of the China dress, but unfortunately it has no short hair bones. So it has no long hair bones rather. So what we can do if we needed a character like Tifa to gain a long skirt is, and I'll just import Tifa while I explain this. So yes, we want to give her, let's say the character that you're creating has a ponytail and a long skirt. It's practically Aerith, but it's not. We want it on Tifa. So we go and we import Tifa. Now I'm using PSK here, but this will also work with UAsset as well. So we import both of those models. Brilliant. Right, so now that we have both our models in the scene, we are going to try and succeed, rather, to give Aerith's hair bones and her skirt bones, and why not, all of her jacket bones as well, uh, to Tifa. So what this will do is it will negate any of the physics files that Tifa herself will be using, and we'll be able to use Aerith's instead. Now, of course, this comes with its own trials and tribulations that will come through testing in your own modding time, such as if you wanted to maintain breast physics for Tifa, that becomes impossible in this scenario. So I understand that a majority of people seem to think that's important, but in the instance of your own mod, that's a decision you need to make for yourself. So again, when you do replace physics of a character, any physics that that character was originally using no longer apply. You're only using the physics of the secondary character, in this case Aerith. So do keep that in mind when merging two skeletons. So in the naming conventions of Final Fantasy VII and their armatures, there are a few things that tend to overlap, which is why the Fuse Skeleton plugin is so helpful. Now, Tifa has a bone called R A, and Aerith also has an R A. Now, if we wanted to give Aerith's bones to Tifa using the Fuse Skeletons, we would select Aerith's model and then Tifa's model and then run the plugin. Now what will happen is if it encounters two bone names that are the same and have the same parenting, now I again shouldn't assume people's knowledge, and so a parenting is what the bone is before the particular bone selected. So in this case it's C hairbase A. If those bone names and parents are the same between two separate skeletons, it will ignore / delete this bone on Aerith when you try to merge it down, and it'll keep the one on Tifa, which is not what we want. So we need to go into Tifa's skeleton. We need to go into the outliner search function. We need to type in hair. Right, so we're going to keep the hair base where it is. Don't move things like the head bone. Don't. The animations will not like it, and you will end up with very strange, saggy, nightmare fuel faces. It is absolutely not worth it. Don't move anything regarding head bone, neck, hair base, just leave those exactly where they are. You hold down Shift once you've selected and typed in the search function hair, and you're just going to go down and select all the hair bones that Tifa has. And we press delete over the editing window and delete them. All right. Now, just because I have a strange and sneaking suspicion, you're called a skirt. Oh, $1 million for people playing at home, what they think these bones will be called. Skirt. All right, cool. So we're going to have some conflicts there. So the easiest thing to do in the world, again, we go back up and we use the handy dandy search feature. Type in skirt, and there's all of Tifa's skirts. I'm going to take all of those bones and delete them. She also has ones called belt. They may conflict. So you can just get rid of those two. Now the entire area and the basic outline of Tifa's model is now completely free. Now she does have here Protector B and Protector B support. They're not going to conflict with any physics that Aerith has, as Aerith doesn't sport those particular accessories. So what we can do now, Aerith also doesn't have anything to do with suspenders, so chances are they won't conflict either. But again, feel free to do as many checks or as much searching as you need to make sure that you're comfortable with how clean the skeleton is before you go into edit mode. On Aerith's. Now, actually, this might be best done in pose mode. All right, so what you can do from this point onwards, you can move some of the bones. And this would be to get them into position. If you do need to make sure that you can see things properly, again, we're just going to make it so it aligns as closely to Tifa's as possible. Go down, select, not the head, we need the hair, and we're just going to delete that. So we're not going to use it anyway. Okay, we're then going into edit mode on Aerith's, pose mode rather. We select her head. We're just going to press G. Now remember, when we merge down, the changes that are made to Aerith's skeleton here will be negated as long as there is a named bone that's parented exactly the same way on Tifa's skeleton. So if we can move and edit this as much as we want. And so I find that just doing that, G, X, and G, Y, Z, and moving that into position as close as possible. It's usually a pretty good way to align it on a new head. If you want, just again for the ease of seeing what is happening. I will never understand why her hair has two that are exactly the same. And the rest of her really isn't needed. So there we go. That is now Aerith's hair perfectly aligned to Tifa. Now after that we're going to press Ctrl A, location, rotation, and scale. Set all of the transforms. The final step to go back into pose mode, apply as rest pose. Apply the hair first, sorry. I always get that. Again, this is what undo is for. So I always do that the wrong way. That's on me. And then we can go back into pose mode. Apply as rest pose. Apply the transforms. And apply it back to the armature. Okay, cool. So now that that's all sorted and set in place, and again, I get into the habit of applying all of those transforms regularly, sometimes unnecessarily. It's like it's a twitch I've developed over time. That and saving, which I'm not going to do here. But anyway, Control S is to save, and that'll blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So we now select the Aerith armature, hold Shift, and then select the Tifa armature, and fuse skeletons. All right, that's it. That is now 100% fused. All of Tifa's main body bones will be left unchanged, untouched, unmoved, and all of the bones that belong to the physics files of Aerith have now been transferred over and automatically parented to Tifa. It keeps all of the rigging, so if you did just want to take the hair, that would be one way to do it. Cool. From this point onwards, you would continue your mod as normal and export out as required. There is a second tutorial incoming on how to change the backend files so that you can use those physics. Again, this is a multi-stage process. I'm not going to go into that just here. This is for the Blender side of fusing a skeleton. Cool. Thank you.